JBNN keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones. Before we get into the news, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and to share the news with someone today. Now onto the news. Man wounded in shooting at Mullines Road, Washington Boulevard intersection dies in hospital. The Monday morning commute for passengers traveling along the intersection of Mullines Road and Washington Boulevard in St. Andrew was disrupted by a brazen daylight shooting. 2 men were shot and wounded after shots were fired inside a Toyota Probox at the intersection sometime after 8 o'clock. Superintendent Damian Mandison, commanding officer for the St. Andrew South Police, said the shooting victims were taken to hospital. One of the victims has since succumbed to the injuries received, while the other remains in stable condition. The deceased has been identified as a 29-year-old mechanic known as Shane. Details of the early morning murder shared by the police are that Shane was driving when he reached at the stoplight at the intersection of the two roads. Gunmen on a motorcycle pulled up and opened fire. The gunmen reportedly fired shots on both sides of the car, hitting the deceased multiple times in the upper body. Another driver, a man who was turning at the intersection from Washington Boulevard onto Mullines Road, was shot in the face. The bullets also pierced a third vehicle, a Kia driven by a female, who escaped harm. Reputed gang leader killed by the police in Augustown. The reputed leader for Spanish Town-based criminal gang was fatally shot by the police in Bedward Gardens, Augustown, St. Andrew on the weekend. Tyree Campbell, 25, otherwise called Bala, of Old Harbour Road, Spanish Town, St. Catherine, was fatally shot during a confrontation with the police on Saturday. A gun was seized, and another suspect was arrested in the operation. According to reports, the police went into Augustown in search of Campbell, who was said to be the leader of the Bobby Lane gang in Homestead. During the operation, Campbell and 3 other suspects were reportedly engaged with the police in a gun battle. He was fatally shot, and a 22-year-old suspect was arrested. A blacksmith and Wesson Springfield automatic pistol with 3 rounds of ammunition was reportedly seized. Campbell reportedly fled to Augustown after warrants were issued for his arrest by the St. Catherine North Police on major crimes, including the attacks on beryllium courier trucks. He was out on bail after being charged last year for the murder of Shamar Smith in Spanish Town. Women charged with prostitution to appear in court on Wednesday. The 5 women charged in connection with what is said to be a prostitution ring operating at a residential lot along North Avenue in St. Andrew will appear in court on Wednesday, March 26. The women, who were among an initial group of 6, were arrested and charged during a police raid on March 11 for breaches under the Public Health Act. The owner was also implicated. The women are set to appear in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court. The police are still working to bring charges against the woman who allegedly led the prostitution ring. A police was indicated that during an assessment of her mobile phone, a list of clients were identified via WhatsApp conversations pointing to several people who were participating in the operations at the premises. The police say, while the evidence indicates that the woman was living off the earnings of prostitution, additional proof is needed to bring further charges against her, with one of the investigating officers noting that the standard of proof in the criminal court requires proving offenses beyond reasonable doubt. Following the March 11 raid, the police confirmed that the illegal activities were being carried out under the guise of a massage parlor. The women were found to be 19 to 31 years old. The charges came as the women were supposed to be performing beauty therapy services, including massages, were found to be unlicensed. It is required under the Public Health Act that those performing such duties must be in possession of a valid beauty therapist license. Classes again disrupted at St. James High. Classes at St. James High School in Montego Bay were again disrupted by the simmering tension between the principal and chairman of the governance of the institution. The latest suspension of classes has come despite the intervention of the Ministry of Education last month. Students and staff turned up Monday morning only to find the gates to the school padlocked. Police and the fire personnel were able to remove the lock sometime after 8 o'clock, but in an address to students on the morning shift, Principal Joseph Williams indicated that he would not be working with board chairman Christopher McCurdy. School was subsequently dismissed. A source has revealed that the Parent Teachers Association and the Students' Council body have also objected to the reappointment of McCurdy. The contentious relationship between the two school leaders led to a verbal dispute that almost turned physical on February 24, resulting in the suspension of classes for one day. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Casson Troop, wrote to the principal on March 19, stating that the matter had been carefully reviewed based on the meetings held and reports received, which outlined several contending issues and opinions. Dr. Troop noted that, given the nature of the issues identified, a comprehensive approach was necessary to resolve the conflicts and find closure. She further stated that mediation was recommended and that an experienced mediator was being engaged. In the meantime, the school's Board of Management was instructed to continue to perform its natural functions in accordance with legal and regulatory requirements.
The Victim Services Division provides support for all victims of crime. It does not matter the type of crime that has been committed against you, or doors are open to you.
Some of those victims are persons who've suffered sexual abuse, family members of people murdered, individuals who've experienced robbery and intimate partner violence, otherwise known as domestic abuse. They all can be grouped into one of three categories: primary, secondary, or tertiary victim. Who is a primary victim?
The person to whom the crime has been directly committed. Now, in the case where the primary victim is deceased, we will provide the service to their next of kin and their immediate family members, who in this case will be the secondary victims.
Secondary victims may not have had the act perpetrated on them, but they do experience some amount of trauma due to what their loved ones may have endured. Then there are the tertiary victims.
Victim service workers are categorized as tertiary victims. And so we think about persons like the police officers who have to interface with these situations on a day-to-day basis. There is secondary traumatization that they experience. And so it is critically important that persons not only recognize that these events can have an impact on them, be they primary, secondary, or tertiary victim, but also that they need to get assistance to be able to deal with the effects of the trauma that they have experienced.
Tertiary victims also suffer what's called vicarious trauma. This results in some form of distress caused from the horrific experiences of others.
For example, a mother who has a 9-year-old child and hears of the incident where a 9-year-old was brutally murdered. That person will feel some amount of trauma, some amount of fear even because of what has happened to that child when they think of the fact that they too have a 9-year-old child.
A department in the Ministry of Justice, the Victim Services Division, is determined to help.
We have come to recognize that even in the cases where there are physical wounds, when those have healed, the wounds that are created, the psychological wounds and the social injuries that are created, are far harder to heal, especially if the person has received no intervention to deal with the trauma that they have faced.
The division provides a support system for individuals, including through counseling sessions which have been extended to e-counseling, an initiative that was boosted by the COVID-19 pandemic. This is a therapeutic process that is based on trauma-informed care to help individuals cope. Another is crisis intervention. This is where experts at the division may need to accompany police officers onto a scene to help victims understand what is happening. It's known as on-the-scene response.
Additionally, we provide services in terms of home visits. So we'll visit the homes of victims and provide services to them there, school visits, and that sort of thing in terms of crisis intervention.
Another part of the treatment focuses on informing the victims of their rights.
We try to assist them through the process, get in touch with the relevant persons to get information that they may need to even understand the process of the investigation, what is happening, what will be happening, or what should happen.
Due to the unnerving experience of a trial and the added traumatization of the victims, the division also gives court support to help persons prepare for trial.
When a victim has to go to court, it can be a very frightening experience for both adults and children. So one of the ways in which we advocate, instead of having the victim being seated in the same area and being able to be seen by the perpetrator and they're seeing the perpetrator and they may feel fearful and not able to go through the process, we ask that they be seated in another area where they don't have to interface with this, or even where they don't have to interface where possible with the general public.
The Victim Services Division also provides a Children in Court program.
In terms of dealing with the children, some of the tools that we use, we may utilize a model courtroom that really depicts the courtroom setting and give them an idea as to where individuals may be seated, who they will interact with, who they can expect to interact with them, that sort of thing. In some instances, we're even able to bring the victim to the courthouse prior to the date so that they can basically see the lay of the land and get a better appreciation and understanding. So when they turn up on that day, it's not all brand new to them. And preparation for us, let me be clear, is really orientating them to the process. We do not interfere with statements. We do not interfere with whatever it is they will be going there to say. We are all about the court process, the layout of the court, and basically educating them as to what they can expect.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items. JBN will keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.